You cheated again. Let's just get divorced. After 4 years, not a particularly long time, I finally asked for a divorce. Even my in-laws took my side, voicing their harsh opinions to Sam. Sam seemed frustrated, veins popping in his temples, but soon smirked, "Fine. I'll give you the divorce. But there are conditions." "I don't care about your conditions. All I know is, I'm not planning on being your wife any longer." "Well then, take my parents and our 2 brats with you when you leave." "Haha. No alimony or child support either." Sam continued with a mocking smile. "You know, being cheated on is also the fault of the person being cheated on. I've grown tired of seeing your gloomy face. Plus, the image of a good-looking divorcee is attractive to women, right? Not bad, right?" It seemed Sam didn't really take my words seriously. "What about your new place?" Upon showing Sam a picture of my new place. "I'm Savannah Taylor, a 28-year-old. I'm a mother of 3-year-old twin girls. My husband, Sam, is 32, 4 years older and works in sales for a trading company. We've been married for 4 years. During our relationship, I became pregnant and we quickly tied the knot. It was what you might call a shotgun wedding. When I first saw Sam, who was visiting my office for business, I found him incredibly attractive. After several work interactions, we became closer, and when he asked to meet outside of work, I was over the moon. That's how great my first impression of Sam was. He's tall, slender but well-built, with a somewhat deep comforting voice. And his face, far more handsome than any regular movie star. A few dates later, we became intimate, and before I knew it, I was pregnant. When I hesitantly told Sam about the pregnancy, he was overjoyed and proposed. I was ecstatic. I felt like the heroine of a fairy tale, headed for a happy ending. But living with him revealed a different story. Instead of a fairy tale ending, I found myself in a soap opera with a philandering husband. Sam indeed looks good and knows how to treat women. I mistook that for him being a gentleman and believed he truly cherished me. I also believed his swift marriage proposal was a testament to his love. But it was just a convenient plaything for him. I was oblivious and, following Sam's lead, soon moved in with his parents. "I can't leave you alone in that condition while I'm at work. Since you have no family to return to, why don't you live with my parents? That's what I'd prefer." Both my parents passed away when I was young. Having no siblings and pretty much being on my own, I had no reason to refuse. Deceived by those words, I ended up living with Sam's parents at his family home. Luckily, Sam's parents were wonderful people. Had they been the worst sort of in-laws, like something out of a dramatic comic strip, I would have lost hope in life a long time ago. "Don't worry about the bills. I'm a top-notch salesman. I make more than enough to support you and the kids. So, I'd like you to quit your job and comfortably have our children." When Sam found out the new life inside of me was twins, that's what he said, suggesting I leave my job. I loved my job and was attached to the company I'd been with since college. I hesitated a bit about that, but with the anxieties of giving birth for the first time and to twins, I eventually left my job, heeding Sam's advice. And so, on the surface, I was able to embrace motherhood as if I was the protagonist of a fairy tale with a happy ending. Both my in-laws were overjoyed with the twin girls. Those times were truly blissful. It felt like a picture-perfect happiness. I thought I had a life filled with nothing but joy. But as time went by and I basked in that happiness, Sam began coming home later and later. Around the time I was getting swamped with taking care of the twins, with the help of my in-laws, Sam's overtime increased. His weekend shifts also grew. "It's a busy period right now. There'll be a lot of expenses for the kids, right? If I refuse the company's requests and get demoted, that'll be a huge issue. Please, lean on my parents and get through this. I'm counting on you," Sam said, placing his hands on my shoulders, looking deep into my eyes. And I thought, Sam's working hard, so I need to be a strong mother. Raising twins was harder than I ever imagined. Every night they took turns wanting to get fed. As soon as one was asleep, the other would wake up crying. Even if their diapers weren't wet or they weren't hungry, sometimes they'd cry just wanting to be held. I was utterly exhausted. Had it not been for my in-laws, I would have been up all day and night caring for the kids, likely collapsing from fatigue. But my in-laws were kind. My father-in-law, who mentioned that men of his era weren't very involved in child-rearing, hesitantly but surely would hold and soothe his granddaughters, telling me to rest when I could. I was truly grateful. In that sense, I felt like the lead of a happy story. However, in this story, the prince, my husband, was notably absent, a fact that left me feeling uneasy. But as time passed and life's busyness took over, I grew accustomed to his absence. But then one day, I found a note in Sam's bag. It was a love letter from another woman to Sam. The note fervently described how wonderful the times they spent together were and how deeply she loved Sam. "What's this about?" Looking displeased after glancing at the note, Sam said, "Who the heck would pull a prank like this?" and dismissed it as a bad joke by fluttering the note. "It's just a joke? Can I trust that?" When I asked, Sam, with an annoyed look, responded, "You don't trust me? I've been working my butt off for our family, and this is how you treat me?" He got so angry that I hurriedly apologized. At that time, the way he lashed out felt so genuine that I couldn't believe he was lying. Now I understand that Sam lashed out at me to prevent further discussion. But back then, I was scared of angering him and being disliked since I still believed in him. One day, my in-laws noticed something was off about me. They approached and asked if something was bothering me, and I couldn't hold back any longer and spilled everything. The moment they heard it, their faces turned pale, and they both apologized profusely. "Savannah, we're so sorry. It might be true." Huh? The truth my in-laws shared with me was shocking. Given his good looks, Sam had always been a ladies' man since high school, often juggling multiple relationships with different girls simultaneously as if it was the normal thing. Girls like that would often show up at his house, and sometimes they'd even start fighting right in front of him. However, none of these relationships lasted long. My in-laws thought that Sam might just keep playing around and never settle down to get married. When he brought you, Savannah, and told us you were expecting a child, we were over the moon. We thought he had finally settled down. I felt my heart grow cold. I decided to leave my kids with my in-laws and have a serious talk with Sam. "Of course, I want to trust you. But there are so many things that just don't add up. For instance, on days he said he had to work on weekends, there were credit card charges from amusement park, or when he came home late claiming it was overtime, he smelled of fresh soap. Looking at it calmly, there were just too many inconsistencies. When I pointed these out and asked for the truth, Sam burst into laughter and said, "You should have just ignored it. If you didn't know, you'd still be happy." I felt like the blood drained from my face. "You're the only one I'm married to. Isn't that enough? Can't you just be satisfied with that?" How was I supposed to answer such a question? Perhaps having said it aloud, Sam, like a dam breaking, began to spill all his true feelings. The reason he married was so that any new girlfriend would know, and thus, wouldn't press him for marriage. He probably thought I was easy to manipulate because I had no parents or relatives. Once he made me quit my job, I'd lose my financial independence and would have to listen to whatever he said. I fell right into Sam's trap. Just a convenient woman for him. "So, if you don't want a divorce, don't complain from now on. Got it?" I couldn't say a word, just hung my head in front of Sam's loud laughter. It hurt. After that, Sam didn't hide anything he was doing. To me and my in-laws, he just said, "If you have complaints, leave." My in-laws seemed to want to believe in their son, but by this point, Sam had become so uncontrollable that it seemed impossible to rein him in. I almost gave up. Like Sam said, with twins and no job, I had no way to make a living. I thought about suing Sam for infidelity, but considering the hassle, effort, and money, I just couldn't. If I just let Sam have his way, I could at least survive. Maybe I should pretend everything's fine and deceive myself that he's a good husband. But it was my in-laws who changed my mind. My in-laws made me an offer. And I accepted it. From that day, with the help of my in-laws, I worked hard for that day. 3 years passed. Another affair, I want a divorce now. After only 4 years of marriage, I finally asked for a divorce. My in-laws sided with me and confronted Sam. Sam seemed irritated, but then smirked and said, "Fine, I'll give you the divorce. But there's a condition." "I'll meet any condition. I just don't want to be married to you anymore." I handed him the filled-out divorce papers. Sam seemed surprised, then, "Take my parents and the 2 brats and get out. No alimony or child support, haha." Sam continued with a sarcastic smirk. "Being cheated on, the victim is to blame too. I'm tired of seeing your pitiful face. Besides, a handsome divorced man is attractive to women, right? Not too shabby." It seemed Sam still didn't take my words seriously. He probably thinks I'm just going to sit back and do as I'm told. Sam took his time, signing the divorce papers, showing off to me. Then, like a boomerang, he tossed them at my feet. I calmly picked them up and checked they were properly filled out. "If you're gonna side with that woman, then you can get lost with her," Sam smugly said, even to his own parents. "Is that really how a father should act?" My father-in-law quivered as he responded. "You know, I could have kids anytime I want. I don't need 'em. I won't miss anything without them." Sam spewed those unbelievable words. "Savannah, I'm so sorry. We raised such a person. It's our fault," my mother-in-law said with tears in her eyes, looked sincerely apologetic and said, "It's best to just end it now and leave." Sam watched us discuss this, looking rather entertained. The next day, while Sam was at work, I left the house with the kids and my in-laws. I also filed the divorce papers. Everything went as planned. Sam, who rarely came home, hadn't noticed, but nearly everything was gone from the rooms, except his bedroom. When he did come home, he only showed his face to the neighbors, probably to avoid gossip. I guess he didn't care how the house looked. We had already secured a new place and were gradually moving our stuff there. For the day of executing the plan, I had tidied up enough so that Sam wouldn't notice. What was left were just old furniture and junk, things we wouldn't really miss. There was no word from Sam the next day either. He might not have believed that we really left, or perhaps he thought it was just some kind of punishment. Well, either way, he's someone I no longer have any ties to. I don't plan on caring about him anymore. The call from Sam came a week later. "Hey! Where are you? Why is the house empty?" Sam seemed to have finally noticed that almost everything was gone. I don't know what he thinks about us being gone, but he was definitely angry about the missing items and called my cell. Well, I took what I needed, and I got rid of what I didn't. I left everything you need for your daily life, though. Yes, I left enough for Sam to live. Dishes, basic necessities like shampoo and body wash for bathing, towels, and since a place to sleep is essential, the double bed we used to share remains untouched. Though, for a while now, I've been sleeping in the living room with the kids on the sofa. I also left Sam's clothes, some keepsakes, and some non-perishable food like instant noodles in cardboard boxes. With that much, he can probably live on his own for a while. We were a couple once, I've given him at least that much courtesy. What about the TV and appliances? I brought everything necessary for living. Don't mess with me. I bought those with the money I earned. That's true. Sam never let me work, stripping me of financial freedom, but he made sure to give me just enough money so it didn't look bad. Well, whether or not you'd use them again is unknown, right? So I brought them. I sold some things we didn't need, though. What do you mean? That house, my father-in-law sold it. So you're gonna have to move out soon, too. What? Sam yelled so loudly that it seemed like he might break his phone. I patiently explained to Sam. The house we lived in, it was still under my father-in-law's name. So I was able to sell it without consulting Sam. That's why you better start looking for a new place soon. Noticed how I packed your things neatly to make moving easier? You've gotta be kidding me. I'm not joking. I had been planning this day with my in-laws. Oh, by the way, expect a call from a lawyer soon. For alimony and child support. I told you I'm not gonna pay that, and you agreed. I remember you saying that. But I never agreed, did I? Right, I did say anything would be acceptable, but I never agreed to any terms. Also, I'm claiming settlement from all your affair partners. You're out of your mind. I ain't paying that. If you don't want to pay, that's fine. We'll just take it to court, and you can follow the court's orders then. By now, Sam seemed to realize I was serious. 3 years ago, when Sam admitted everything and no longer hid his affairs, thinking we would just go along with it, my in-laws made this suggestion. Savannah, find a job. We'll take care of the kids. Yes, and once you're able to stand on your own, leave Sam and live with the children. My in-laws told me they'd give me time. Grateful for their support, I started with a part-time job and managed to secure a full-time position over the next 3 years. Sam, who hardly spent any time at home during the day and rarely came home at night, amusingly didn't even notice what I was doing. On the flip side, I made this proposition to my in-laws. Let's leave this house together and live as one family, what do you say? At first, they hesitated, but after several conversations, my father-in-law decided to sell the house so we could live together. From there, we started to piece together a more detailed plan. Sell the house. Use the money to buy a new one, and move in together, me, kids, and my in-laws. Sam was earning a decent salary. I intended to claim alimony and child support without any hesitation. Of course, I knew Sam would refuse. But I had tons of evidence. Over those 3 years, I'd been collecting proof. I don't know if you're aware, but I can claim emotional damages from infidelity. I've set claims to all of the individuals you've been involved with since we got married. It's a hefty amount. On the other end of the line, Sam was silent, listening to my words. If you refuse to pay, I'll contact your employer and garnish your wages. If you don't want that, then you better pay up. Oh, and be sure to let me know where you move. Otherwise, I'll have to contact your workplace. Sam didn't respond. Perhaps he was stunned? Well, whether I get a reply or not, I intend to get what's owed to me. Hey. Suddenly, I heard Sam's voice. What? Why don't we give it another shot? Excuse me? I was taken aback by the sudden suggestion. Come on, it'll be good, right? He continued in a sweet voice. We're still married, ain't we? Don't be so cold, come on. Seems like Sam thinks he can win me over with sweet talk. I'm sorry, but we're not married anymore. I've already filed for divorce. Why don't we just get remarried then? Sam said without hesitation. It's better for the kids to have both parents together, right? Doesn't he remember saying that he could have as many kids as he wanted? Absolutely ridiculous. I'm sorry, but those kids are mine alone. Why don't you just have new kids with someone else? With that, I hung up the phone. Later on, I received numerous contacts from the women Sam cheated with after my lawyer sent them notices. Some were married, and those were keen to pay up so their husbands wouldn't find out. Each woman paid surprisingly easily. It pays off to hire a lawyer experienced in infidelity and divorce cases. There were just so many of them. I didn't ask for a large sum from each of them, but altogether, it amounted to enough to comfortably put my kids through college. Sam tried to reach out several times, but he was always trying to win me back. Respond to the lawyer's notice first, instead of this. Don't be so cold, come on. He'd plead, desperately trying to get through to me. Then, out of the blue, he said, Hey, where are you living now? Don't you want to come back? You still can, you know. Just make up your mind and come back. Don't worry about it. I sent him a photo of where I live now, just enough to give an idea of the place, but not revealing the exact location. Is this your new place? Sam was left speechless when he saw the photo. Indeed, the place I'm living in now is what you'd call a high-rise condo. From the glimpse of the blue sky through the room's window, he seemed to guess that I was on a pretty upper floor. Please. Let me live with you there. No way. With one firm response, I told him, from now on, communicate through the lawyer. Please don't contact me directly anymore. I blocked Sam and got myself a new phone. He shouldn't be able to contact me directly anymore. According to the lawyer, Sam desperately tried to contact me, but of course, the lawyer turned him down for me. Then, when the lawyer sternly demanded alimony and child support payments, warning that if he didn't pay, his wages would be garnished at his company, Sam finally gave in and agreed to pay. Not wanting to deal with him for years, I had him pay both in one lump sum. Whether he took out a loan somewhere, or had been secretly saving up, I don't know. But I got what was owed to me, so I don't really care either way now. Right now, I'm working after leaving my kids with my in-laws. Honestly, I got enough alimony that I wouldn't have to work, but you never know what's gonna happen in life. It's always best to have a steady job. Plus, I want to stay connected to society by working. It's the same sales job I had before marriage. I love interacting with people, so I enjoy my work every day. There was a time when Sam told me to quit, and I was just taking care of the kids, feeling isolated from the outside world. Of course, my in-laws were good to me, but still, it feels like people need to be connected to society. While my marriage felt like a descent from heaven to hell, I have to thank Sam for giving me 2 lovely daughters, and the chance to call someone my parents again. Speaking of Sam, after I took legal action, he was blamed by women and even confronted at his company. He ended up exposing all his misdeeds there. He was demoted and transferred from the main office to a smaller branch, let's say in Nebraska. There were women there who seemed attracted to Sam because of his good looks, But of course, rumors of his debts due to the alimony and child support reached them, so nobody seems to be getting close to him now. Either way, he's no longer my concern. I cherish my current family and am moving towards a bright future. I'm truly living the happiest days of my life.